It all began with a pregnancy video that Meghan Markle believed would come across as empowering and endearing. Instead, it ignited a wave of backlash that even Netflix couldn't contain. In the video, Meghan was shown lip-syncing to a popular rap track while cradling her belly and dramatically gesturing in rhythm with the music. She thought it was a bold and creative move. The internet disagreed. The clip went viral, but for all the wrong reasons. Rather than praising her for being a relatable mother or strong female figure, many people questioned her judgment, especially since she directly tied the post to her Netflix series, With Love, Meghan. At first, the criticism was limited to social media chatter. But things quickly escalated into a full-blown crisis. Netflix hosted a test screening for the second season of With Love, Meghan, complete with a live audience and a Q&A session afterward. Meghan, naturally, took center stage, eager to connect and win over hearts. But what unfolded was nothing short of a public meltdown that is now quietly being discussed in nearly every Hollywood circle. The audience didn't hold back during the Q&A. One attendee stood up and, in a calm but direct tone, expressed that the pregnancy video felt tone-deaf, unprofessional, and even embarrassing, particularly to real parents facing genuine challenges. Meghan didn't take it well. She raised her voice, accused the audience of being haters, called them fake fans, and insisted they simply didn't understand her vision. The room quickly turned icy. And when she screamed into the microphone with such force that it made people flinch, Netflix staff realized they were dealing with a PR nightmare. Security wasn't called, but it came close. Producers rushed to the stage, pulled the microphone away from Meghan, and attempted to salvage the situation on the spot. One of them addressed the audience directly, clarifying that the pregnancy video was not part of Netflix's official marketing campaign. It was a personal project Meghan had launched independently and without approval. That revelation only deepened the backlash. Audiences felt misled, realizing Meghan had seemingly implied Netflix endorsed the video to give it more credibility. For many, that crossed a line. Behind closed doors, Netflix executives were furious. Ted Sarandos, one of the platform's top decision-makers, reportedly lost his temper in a follow-up meeting. He had already been under pressure for months over continuing to support Meghan despite growing criticism. Some insiders believed he was standing by her out of pride, while others thought it was an attempt to protect Netflix's sizable investment in With Love, Meghan. But even he couldn't deny how bad the situation had become. The Q&A disaster wasn't an isolated incident, it was the final straw. In fact, the chaos had already been brewing. Just days earlier, another test screening had gone poorly, with Meghan being criticized for acting defensive and even confrontational when viewers offered feedback. But the second incident eclipsed the first. This wasn't just pushback, this was a total loss of composure, and it was all caught on camera. While the footage hasn't been leaked yet, its existence is well known within the entertainment industry and has already done considerable damage. In Hollywood, things move fast. When one studio experiences this level of turmoil, others begin pulling away. Streaming platforms and networks that had once expressed interest in collaborating with Meghan began quietly backing out. Some even canceled early-stage discussions. Meghan, once viewed as a valuable headline-generating asset, was rapidly becoming a liability. Netflix, meanwhile, found itself scrambling to manage the fallout without further damaging its reputation. Ted Sarandos wasn't just disappointed, he was livid. The moment Meghan walked off stage after the disastrous Q&A, a private emergency meeting was scheduled. Present were Ted, co-CEO Greg Peters, top legal advisors, PR strategists, and Meghan herself. Tensions in the room were palpable. Meghan arrived already on edge, prepared to defend herself. She insisted the pregnancy video was a form of artistic expression, intended to spark conversation and reflect the rawness of motherhood. But no one in the room seemed convinced. Ted laid out the hard truth. Her behavior was making Netflix look unprofessional, out of touch, and increasingly desperate. And it wasn't just about the video, it was about the growing storm that had surrounded With Love, Meghan since its inception. The first season had been critically panned, and viewers had largely abandoned the show after just a couple of episodes. Internally, Netflix staff had already been joking that they were just writing out Meghan's contract to avoid even more backlash. But now, legal teams were actively reviewing her contract to find a clean way out. The PR department was clear, immediate damage control was necessary. They drafted a carefully worded public statement, calm, reflective, and designed to show Meghan understood the public's concerns. But Meghan refused. She insisted she wouldn't apologize for being passionate and said she was tired of being silenced. That's when, according to insiders, Greg Peters leaned toward Ted and said something that shifted everything: she's not going to change. From that moment, the studio began executing a new strategy. First, they canceled all remaining live Q&A events. Future promotional screenings would proceed without Meghan's presence and without any audience interaction. Although her image would still appear in official marketing, behind the scenes, Netflix began methodically phasing her out. The most telling sign came when discussions for a potential third season were abruptly shut down. There was no announcement, no explanation, just a quiet internal email declaring development was suspended. The fallout was immediate. Sensing the shift, Meghan's team began reaching out to other platforms in hopes of securing new projects. But they were met with cold responses. Most studios didn't want to associate with someone now perceived as volatile. Some production houses even canceled tentative talks. Word spread quickly. Casting directors were advised to steer clear. Talent agencies reportedly warned their clients to avoid any public collaboration with Meghan, at least for the foreseeable future. Her brand wasn't just cooling off, it was becoming radioactive. Still, Meghan wasn't ready to let go. She took to Instagram in what appeared to be a raw, unfiltered live video, no makeup, wearing a hoodie, seated in natural light. She painted herself as misunderstood, claimed the media had distorted her message, and insisted that everything she had done came from a place of love. But the public wasn't buying it. Her comments section was flooded with sarcasm, memes, and disappointment. Even longtime supporters were beginning to voice their disillusionment. Netflix, meanwhile, was caught in a delicate balancing act. They didn't want to appear as though they were silencing a woman of color. Yet they also couldn't continue supporting someone whose actions were damaging the brand. So they began a quiet disengagement. Budgets were slashed. Marketing plans were scaled back. Emails went unanswered. Meghan wasn't fired, but the message was unmistakable. She was being frozen out, quietly and completely. Hollywood responded swiftly. Within days, whispers of the incident had morphed into full-blown industry gossip. Casting agents began flagging Meghan as a potential risk. Studios started using the phrase, Meghan risk factor, during internal meetings when discussing controversial personalities. Even Netflix staffers working on unrelated shows couldn't escape the backlash, fielding snarky questions from journalists. "How's Meghan today?" they were asked. "You adding rap battles to Bridgerton too?" And it wasn't just about the recent video. People were revisiting Meghan's entire post-royal career, the failed Spotify deal, abandoned lifestyle ventures, underwhelming podcast efforts, and brief brand partnerships that fizzled out. A narrative began to take shape, one of overhyped, half-executed ideas cloaked in self-importance and plagued by public blunders. Still, Meghan's team kept trying to salvage the wreckage. They pitched new ideas, a docuseries about reclaiming the narrative, a reimagined second season of With Love. Meghan focused on motherhood and personal growth, a memoir, even a fashion collaboration. But across the board, the response was the same, polite interest followed by silence. Meghan had faced rejection before, but this time was different. It wasn't about talent, it was about risk. No one wanted to be next in line for a PR explosion. Meanwhile, Netflix's legal team found their exit plan. They wouldn't renew Meghan's contract. There would be no formal termination, just silence. They'd allow the second season to air, recoup whatever they could, and quietly move on. No lawsuits. No statements. Just a slow fade. But even that came with its own risks. What if Meghan went public? What if she turned the tables, accusing Netflix of mistreatment, racism, or corporate betrayal? The PR team prepared accordingly. Drafts were written. Response strategies mapped out, then came the final blow. A major Hollywood trade outlet published a detailed exposé. The article included anonymous sources who confirmed the Q&A meltdown, described Meghan's outburst in vivid detail, and even quoted a Netflix executive who admitted, "We had to take the mic out of her hand before she dug the hole any deeper." The piece exploded online. Celebrities chimed in. Late-night comedians joked about it. YouTubers posted reaction videos. And Meghan? She went silent. No more Instagram videos. No more posts. No new statements. For the first time in a long while, she disappeared from public view.